I've been walking around thinking about brokenness and people that are broken. A lot of us are, and I guess each one of you watching this tonight have experienced some brokenness or heartache in your life, I'm sure. I got to thinking about it. I saw this old cup. I pass it all the time to get the camera just right. There we go. Some of the kitchen connoisseurs know that's a Fiesta cup. Pretty good cup. It's a coffee mug. I remember drinking out of it a few mornings in years past out here. I was studying this evening on how I got broke. Of course, obviously, it probably fell. But whether a rock that holds the pin closed, or an old brick, a hammer, whatever it is, whatever broke it, it still broke just the same, right? Doesn't matter what broke it, it's broke. And I was thinking about that, how all of us have different life circumstances that break us, right? Sicknesses or bad family situation. You ever seen a deer out of breath? I mean, thirsty? In Psalms 42, it talks about a deer panteth after the brook, in certain terms. Some of y'all know that verse. It's always been a beautiful, poetic type verse until you really think about it. I've been studying on it, thinking about it in a different light. And it's not the little fuzzy, pretty picture memes of a beautiful deer just standing by the brook, lapping up the fresh water. Not the kind of thirst where you're taking a lunch break and can't decide if you want a Coke or a water or lemonade. I'm talking about that sure enough, sweating all day, out of breath, thirsty. So thirsty you'd even take that half drinking bottle of water in the back seat that's been in the truck all day and lukewarm and be happy to get it. That's what it's talking about there. That's how we should thirst after the Lord. Psalmist says a little later that the Lord is near to that contrite spirit, the brokenness, the remorsefulness. I remember years past when I finally got my head screwed on straight and made my way back to making him a personal friend, and how close you feel as you are broken and in tears of remorse. But it's kind of hard to quantify that sometimes in the human mind. I think about it often, and it comes to mind today as I think back to the year 2015. This August, end of August, will be 10 years. I saw it firsthand. Any of y'all that's had children can relate to that brokenness and how you feel so close to them in that. My daughter was a teenager, doing well, working, going to school, making good grades. Had come back to live with me in Texas after quite some time in Illinois with her mother. Had a very, very close friend, childhood friend. Y'all know the ride or die types that you're never seen without each other. Well, circumstances had changed to where she needed to come here to finish her education. And as bad as she had to leave her friend behind, she did. Life was okay. As teenagers go, it was a dad-daughter relationship, and yeah, we loved being around each other, but I loved it more than she did because she was too cool for that, I guess, in those years. Tragedy struck on a Friday night. I'll never forget it. It was about 10 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, but I'd worked all day and had turned in for the night. And I remember her passing through the house, and she had a good friend that they were texting back and forth, and all of a sudden there was no text coming back, and her little network of friends from that area was raising alarm bells about an accident that must have happened up the road. She got the word that her friend had passed in that car accident, killed immediately. I'll never forget hearing her scream from the other side of the house and running in there and throwing herself on the bed, full belly tears, needing to be close to her dad. I've often thought how Christ looks at us that way as we go through brokenness. There's no way in God's green earth I'd ever want my daughter to feel that type of hurt or pain. I couldn't do anything about it but just hold her and comfort her. Brokenness. Some of y'all are experiencing that right now. You're probably bitter, even at God. But he stands there crying right beside you. He said he's closer in those moments than you can ever imagine. right? I've wised up and realized that that's the source of my strength. That same daughter and I was talking this morning about life storms, and it's funny. It's easy to trust in God when things are easy, when there's no drama around, nothing's going on, and you talk a big game. And it's when the rubber meets the road that you learn the value of that trust. But as you go through that brokenness, think about how you would feel if your child was hurting from whatever it might be, and how you long to just comfort them and for them to be there because you want to be close to them.